Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you are very welcome to this unboxing video. So it's spring now, and spring, as we all know, is a great time to buy new plants. And I'm very excited today to open up this large selection of cacti and succulents from an exciting new cactus nursery here in Ireland called CactiIreland.com. Now, I have a lot of rare and unusual plants in here that I just can't wait to see. So if you want to learn a bit more about cactuses, if you want to see me open them, you want to see me pot them up, and you want to perhaps even learn what a geophyte or a caudex plant is, then stay tuned. Once again, welcome to the video, and if you're new to the channel, then also a great big welcome. But without further ado, let's get stuck right in here because I cannot wait to see the plants that I've been sent. Now, as we open the box, I will just tell you a little bit about CactiIreland.com, which is a new cactus nursery here in Wexford. And the great thing about them is that they have unusual or rare cactus plants that you mightn't find elsewhere in Ireland, and they're mail order. Now, it's always tricky to open boxes, isn't it? Especially when you're as excited as me. So the story of the nursery, or the beginnings of the nursery, is that in 2020, many of us were in lockdown, and Eura and the other people who now run the CactiIreland.com nursery, they had difficulty sourcing the rare plants that they loved because they were very avid collectors even then. And they found it difficult for a number of reasons. And the first reason was that very often posting to Ireland from abroad is costly and it takes a lot of time. So by the time some of the plants they ordered turned up, they were rotted and no good. So they got together and decided that they could do better. They could provide people with plants that would arrive in good shape and in good time. So in 2021 they bought a greenhouse and started sowing plants from seed. And then in 2022, which is where we are now, no, that's last year, we're in 2023 now. In 2022, they launched their shop. And I will link to it in the details down below in this video. And currently they have more than 200 different varieties of cactus on there. Cacti and succulents, they sell both of those. Look at me waving the scissors around very dangerously. And they will aim to get plants to you within 2 days. So that's really quick, and it means that the plants won't suffer at all in the post. Oh, look at this. Okay, so we have a mix here, and these mixes are for potting up my cactuses. So here we have the mix for lithops and some of the other plants I'm about to unbox now. And over here we have the mix for the rest of the plants. I've also been sent some pots, and these are very sturdy little square pots, and I'm informed that within 2 weeks they'll be stocking these on their website as well. So today I'm going to pot up my plants in these little things. I think the fact that they're particularly sturdy is good for cactuses because you're using a gritty stony mix which is heavy, and the cactus might be a bit tough heavy. So if you've a light plastic pot, the danger is that the plant will fall over, and we don't want that. Okay, so we're going to unwrap this guy first and see what it is, and I can hardly wait because, oh, I'm going to be careful because we're dealing with cacti here. So some of them might be a bit prickly. In fact, some of them will definitely be a bit prickly. And I don't want to end up with spines in me. Okay, so here, oh, this is a nice, large beauty. Oh, oh, what a beauty. Okay, so there's no label here and I'm not quite sure which plant this is. It's possibly the ferrocactus, or it might be the spiny astrophytum, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, the ferrocactus is a barrel cactus from Mexico, and it's very colourful and usually unbranched, and it produces a single moderately tall column. So in pre-Columbian times, this plant was considered sacred and used in sacrifices and food and medicine and all kinds of things. And I think I read somewhere that today it's mostly used in sweets and I guess some other things. Oh, look at this fella. Isn't he gorgeous? Okay, so this is the other plant. So it's either the ferrocactus or the spiny astrophytum. So astrophytum senile, and it's the goat's horn cactus, and it comes from Mexico. It's a cylindrical cactus basically. It's densely wrapped with soft spines, so much so that the body of the cactus isn't visible, so it looks like a dry grass bundle on top of the earth. I wonder if that's a way for it to hide itself from animals and from being eaten. Certainly the spines are going to help with that, aren't they? So in summer, this plant should produce beautiful yellow flowers. This unwinding is very exciting. It's a bit like, I don't know, unwinding a Turkish carpet or something. Fantastic. And look what we have here. So next up we have an Oriacereus, and it's so pretty. So this comes from high altitudes in Argentina or Bolivia and Peru, and it's known as Old Man of the Andes. Isn't he gorgeous with his like soft fluffy coat? So it's a columnar cactus and it's covered in downy white hairs, and with luck it will produce purple, pink or red flowers in time. Oh yes, I know what this is. This is Frailea. My goodness, so this is a plant I didn't know about at all until I had a look at the cactiireland.com website. And it's a cactus, okay, and it's from southern Brazil all the way up to northern Uruguay. So this plant, it's disc-like and it's flattened and it's globose, and it has just a beautiful structure that lends itself so gorgeously to being grown in a pot. There are short black spines and the plant has tuberous roots, and I believe it will produce flowers in time, sulphur yellow flowers. But these Frailea, they're short-lived plants. I think I read that they rarely grow, or they rarely live beyond 10 years in cultivation. But isn't it super? I'm delighted with that. Next up we have Ariocarpus, and this is commonly known as the star rock cactus, and it comes from Mexico. A lot of these plants are from Mexico. So it has fat triangular tubercles. Those are the little kind of diamond or triangular shaped structures on the surface. So with this plant, only the leaf-like rosette of tubercles is visible on the surface of the soil for this plant. This is the largest species in the genus, and it's also one of the easiest and fastest to grow, which is very good news for me. Whoa! Oh my goodness! Look at this! Look at this amazing beauty! Isn't it fantastic? And it even has two little pops at the side, which means basically I have 3 plants here. Now, as you can see, it's a variegated plant. That's why you have those cream markings. It's basically green and cream, and the cream denotes the variegation. And it's a euphorbia, but I can't recall which species now, but look, 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 look. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So the question is, am I going to pot this up as one entity, or am I going to pot up the little babies separately? Oh, I can't decide. Oh, this is amazing. I know what this one is. So this is Puna, and it's commonly known as the Bolivia cactus. And it has a lot of common names, which is really quite confusing. So these are known as Rebutia or Opuntias, but the correct name is Puna. And it's a geophytic cactus, which means that the majority of the plant is actually underground and you can't see it. So it has very tuberous roots, which remain half buried in its normal habitat. It should produce flowers in time, which are a deep rose red. So I absolutely can't wait, because they really are very showy. Gosh, now what's the name of this plant again? It's Turbinicarpus, and it's a cactus from Mexico, and it's a geophyte. So that means it has a long tap root, and basically most of the plant is actually under the ground, not above where we can see. So it can live almost completely underground in the wild, but we're not having any of that here in a pot. I want to see this beauty. It's dull green in colour, and as you can see, it has small whitish thorns which rise up out of the triangular tubercles. And with a bit of good care and luck, it should produce red or pink flowers. Oh, and look at this cute little Avonia. This is a succulent from South Africa, and the description of it is really quite apt. It's described as having small, flexible branches covered with pure white, overlapping, smoothly rounded scales. Now these scales are great because the job they do is that they reflect a lot of the light and act as sunshades to the plant. And this plant, it mimics the pebbles that it grows in among, so it kind of hides itself, it camouflages itself in there and stops itself getting eaten. It will flower with white flowers, smallish ones I think, but it's really a plant that is grown for its structure, and it's classified as a caudex plant because of its unusual quirky top growth. Next up, we have this gorgeous Crested euphorbia. My goodness. So this is a succulent from Southwest Africa. That's probably Namibia, and it's known as the milk barrel or pincushion euphorbia. Now, if you look up photos online of Euphorbia inopla, you're going to see something that looks quite different from the specimen I have here in front of me. So it's a heavily branching spiny succulent, and it's dioecious. That means each plant is either male or female, just like people. And the form I have is crestate. Now that means it's a crested or fasciated form. And cresting or fasciation is an accident of nature that occurs in either vegetables or flowering buds. It can happen in just ordinary perennials in the garden. And this fasciation deformity. It's very flattering. So particularly in cacti or succulents, the fasciation creates a very desirable attribute, a very attractive looking form, and the plants can be really quite stunning. You can see how the stem is flattened. So what causes this deformity? It's generally believed now that it's a simple mutation in one of the cells of the meristem of the plant, and that's how it comes about. But look at this beautiful, beautiful plant. In perennials, fasciation or cresting is a mutation that can happen just 1 year and then disappear the next. But I think it's quite stable in cactuses, so I'd be very hopeful that this cactus isn't going to revert to form after a period of time. Wow! Look at this. This is surprising. This one is grafted onto a different cactus. And here we have another Ariocarpus, a cactus from Mexico. The stems are normally flush and well camouflaged with the surface, with the soil that it grows in among. So it resembles limestone chips in its shape, and that just helps it to hide from marauding animals that might want to eat it. So let's unwind this one. Oh, no way! Here are some lithops, living stones they're known as, and these are a succulent plant from South Africa that everybody knows. Everybody knows the look of it, but they really are quirky little things. Now, I've grown them in the past and they really are oddballs. So these plants, they avoid being eaten by marauding animals by blending in with their surrounding rocky landscape. So the plant produces one or more pairs of bulbous, almost fused leaves. Now this is actually a modified leaf, this structure you see here. They're each opposite to each other and there's hardly any stem on view. One of the really quirky things about lithops is that most of the leaves are buried below the surface of the soil, but there is a partially or completely translucent top surface known as a leaf window, and this allows light to get through because obviously the leaves down below, they wouldn't be able to photosynthesize and make food if they don't get light. So just an amazing little device that this plant has for survival. When I grew this before, I was absolutely astonished to find that no matter what you do, during winter this plant pushes up a new pair of leaves, or they don't look like leaves, but you see how they present themselves. And these push up, and when they push up from the centre, then the outer leaves kind of shrivel and die and disappear. And this is just what the plant does. And next up, and I can tell from the feel of this plant as I unwind it that this is an astrophytum, and it's the bishop's cap cactus. Now astrophytum are so popular at the moment, so many photos of this plant on Instagram. It's a spineless cactus, this particular one is anyway, coming from Mexico, and it is just beautiful. The cactus is covered in white flecks that you can see here. So the quadricostata form which we have here deviates from the normal species, which usually has 5 ribs. Now in summer, if you're lucky and if this plant is happy, it will produce beautiful yellow flowers with a red throat. But just look at the fantastic form it has. For my money, this plant never needs to flower in order to earn its keep in my collection. Oh wow! Look at this, this is so much fun! I'm absolutely delighted with these plants, and I'm sure you'll agree they really are gorgeous. So what I really must encourage you to do is to, if you're in Ireland, to go and check out cactiireland.com website, and they even have a section on there for discounted plants, bargain plants. So I guess whatever your budget, you're going to find something on there. And the main thing is that these are very unusual cacti that you might find for sale in other places. So, I mean, look. Variegated euphorbia. Fantastic. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just pot up a couple of them, and just to show you basically what's involved. And then I think I'm going to bring these plants into the house, because this greenhouse isn't heated at all, and I am not sure how they've been kept, how warm they've been kept. In any case, every time you pot, even if you're very, very careful, you do damage the roots ever so slightly. So if the roots are in any way damaged, then they need to not be kept at particularly cool temperatures. So they're going to come indoors with me. So I'm going to pot up the little lithop here in the purpose mix that has been sent to me from the website. And if I can get the lid open here, it would be a great thing. And this is particularly gritty. Now look at the consistency here. So there is very, very little organic matter in there. And I guess that's what these plants like, the lithops like. So I'm just putting a bit of it at the base, and then carefully maneuver my lithops into place. Now this is quite fiddly because they are small plants, but I guess a little teaspoon or something might be a good thing here for just spooning some of the mix around the plants. And this one is a bit smaller, so it shouldn't be buried as deeply as the others. I mean, proportionally, it shouldn't be buried as deeply as the others. Next up, I am going to pot up my Avonia, which is this little baby here with the long taproot. And I've chosen the roundy pot for this one because it has a deeper root run, although that does look a bit big, but I think it should be okay. And for my mix, I'm using the other mix that I was sent by cactiireland.com. And what we will do here is, so just check this out. Okay, so this one, you can see it actually has more organic matter in it. So I'm going to have to put up on the screen there what the proportions were. But these ones, I guess, take a little bit more soil than the last. So just place it in like this, and because it has such a long root, there's no kind of putting some mix at the bottom of the pot and then putting the plant on top. I need to make sure that the root is going to reach the bottom of the pot and that the plant just won't be sticking up like that. So I put it in here, and then I will put some of the mix around. There we go. Now, it's very important when you're potting up cacti or succulents that you don't water after potting. Don't water, because you will have damaged the roots slightly, and watering will just see those plants off. It'll kill them outright. Of course, we needn't mention the fact that it's the middle of winter still, so this is not a time when cactuses or succulents should be watered. So I'm just potting these plants up, and I will just place them in a warm environment, and within a while they'll wake up and start growing roots. And I'm also going to pot up this gorgeous variegated euphorbia that I have, and I'm going to use one of these square pots. Now, as I mentioned before, they're going to stock these pots for sale on the website very soon, so you can get your hands on them as well. Great for just stabilizing particularly tricky plants. And here with this euphorbia, I can see the soil level where it was potted up to before, so I'm going to aim to have that, well, to basically plant it at the same level as it was at before. And so in we go with the mix. Okay, so this is what not to do. It's too high. You see, it's too high. It's just going to come out. I have to bury it deeper than that. So I'm going to put the mix back here and start again. And basically you can do this as many times as it takes to get it right. When you get a beautiful plant like this, you want to pot it right. You want the plant to go on and to do great things. You don't want to mess up by just potting it too so that it's too high. There, that's better. We can see, actually I have actually potted it a little bit higher than it was at before, but I think that's okay because the roots are below the surface of the soil. And okay, again, no watering for this one. And that brings me to the end of this unboxing video. Cactuses and succulents, as you saw, potted up beautifully. And all I can do is to advise you to go and check out the website of cactiireland.com, because I'm sure you're going to see plenty of little gems on there that you'll want to add to your collection too. Thank you to cactiireland.com for these beautiful plants, and thank you to you also for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll check back soon to see lots more of this kind of thing. Thanks for watching. Bye.